There's a strange thing that happens when you finally start aligning with your true self. People you thought would be by your side forever start to disappear, not always with a fight, not always with drama. Sometimes they simply fade away, like mist in the morning sun. And in that moment, you're left wondering why. Did you do something wrong? Did you push them away? Or is something far bigger at play? What if I told you this isn't an accident? What if I told you this is one of the universe's most unspoken, yet most powerful acts of protection? You see, the universe has ways of clearing your path long before you even know where that path leads. It knows the weight of certain people, the way their presence drains your spirit, the way their energy pulls you off course. And so, without warning, it begins the quiet work of removing them. But here's the paradox. When it happens, it rarely feels like protection. It feels like a loss. It feels like heartbreak. Because toxic people don't always show up as villains. Sometimes they're disguised as friends, as lovers, as mentors. They're woven so deeply into your life that the thought of them leaving feels like tearing away a piece of yourself. And yet, that tearing is exactly what's necessary for you to grow. Think about the seasons. Winter doesn't apologize to autumn for stripping away the leaves. It doesn't ask permission to let go. It simply clears the branches so spring can arrive. The universe does the same with your relationships. It strips away what no longer serves your highest good, even if you're still clinging to it. And here's the truth. If the universe didn't do this, you would probably never let go on your own. Sometimes it starts subtly. A friend becomes distant. Messages go unanswered. Plans keep falling through. Other times it's sudden. A fight, a betrayal, a shocking revelation. Either way, the removal is deliberate. There's a larger picture you can't see yet. That person's energy, habits, or mindset may be holding you back from a life you're meant to step into. And the universe will not let that interference linger forever. But why does it hurt so much? Because humans are wired for attachment. We anchor ourselves to familiarity, even when it's toxic. The mind says, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But the soul, your soul, knows better. Your soul recognizes that the wrong company can block your blessings. Holding on to the wrong person can mean missing the right one entirely. Toxic people aren't always overtly cruel. Sometimes they're charming. Sometimes they're supportive, until your light starts to outshine theirs. Then, without warning, they'll dim you subtly, consistently, until you forget your brilliance. And the universe? It refuses to watch that happen. It will orchestrate endings in ways that seem chaotic, even cruel. You may lose a job where your so-called work friend was keeping you small. You may go through a breakup that feels like the end of the world, only to meet someone who mirrors your growth instead of your wounds. You may be betrayed, and in that betrayal, finally see the truth you've been ignoring for years. Every removal comes with a test. Will you cling, or will you trust? Will you fight to keep what's gone, or will you allow the emptiness to become space for something better? That's the real challenge, not the loss itself, but the willingness to see it as transformation. The universe is not sentimental. It doesn't keep people in your life because of how long you've known them or how many memories you've shared. It operates by alignment. If someone's energy no longer resonates with your path, their presence will become unsustainable. Conversations will feel forced. Meetings will feel heavy. And eventually, life will arrange circumstances that make their absence inevitable. The dangerous thing about toxic connections is how normal they can start to feel. Like a slow drip of poison, you barely notice the damage until you've gone numb. You convince yourself it's not that bad, or that you can fix them, not realizing you're losing yourself in the process. That's why the universe steps in. Because if it waited for you to see the truth on your own, you might never leave. Here's what most people miss. Removal is not just about subtraction, it's about preparation. That space isn't a void, it's fertile ground. The energy you once spent managing, tolerating, or surviving someone else is now energy you can invest in yourself, into your passions, into relationships that nourish you. At first, you'll want to fill the gap quickly. Humans hate uncertainty. But if you rush to replace what's gone, you risk attracting the same type of energy in a different body. That's why the universe sometimes leaves you in that space longer than you'd like. It's not punishment, it's recalibration. It's teaching you to get comfortable with your own company, to recognize your worth, so you never settle for less again. Sometimes, toxic people leave in a storm, slamming the door behind them. Other times, they slip away quietly, and you only notice they're gone when you find yourself breathing easier. But in both cases, the effect is the same. The heaviness lifts. Your mind feels clearer. Your energy returns. And slowly, you start to see the pattern. The people who leave are the ones you no longer need, and the ones you truly need will never require you to shrink. And yet, the most dangerous moment comes right after they're gone. Because that's when nostalgia tries to rewrite the truth. You start remembering the good times, forgetting the pain. You wonder if you overreacted, if maybe you could have made it work. That's when you must remind yourself, if they were meant for the next chapter of your life, they would still be here. The universe never removes someone to leave you weaker. It only does so to make room for something, or someone better. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you'll stop resisting the flow of life. Because resistance is what causes suffering. Acceptance is what brings peace. When you understand this, you stop asking, why did they leave me? And start asking, why were they here in the first place? And often, the answer is simple. They were a lesson, a mirror, a catalyst for your growth. They were never meant to stay forever. They were meant to help shape you into the person who can handle the blessings ahead. The problem is, we rarely see them as lessons while they're still here. We see them as essential, as irreplaceable. But nothing and no one the universe removes is truly irreplaceable. What's gone is gone because what's coming is greater. So the next time someone drifts, betrays, or disappears, remember, this isn't the end of your story. It's just the end of their chapter in it. And the pages ahead are still unwritten. But here's the paradox the universe hides in plain sight. When someone toxic is removed, it's not just about losing them, it's about reclaiming yourself. You don't simply gain space in your life. You reclaim mental clarity, emotional freedom, and spiritual energy that you didn't even realize was being drained. The absence of that toxicity creates a silence, and in that silence, you can hear your voice again. At first, it might sound faint, hesitant, like it's unsure if it's allowed to speak. But soon, it grows louder, stronger, more certain. And that is when you begin to realize that this removal wasn't a punishment, it was a gift. Toxic relationships rarely end with dramatic fireworks. More often, they dissolve in subtle ways. Calls go unanswered. Plans are postponed. The thread between you becomes thinner until it snaps. Sometimes, the other person pulls away without explanation, leaving you confused and hurt. Other times, it's you who slowly steps back, almost unconsciously, because something inside you whispers, "This isn't right." Either way, the universe orchestrates the moment with precision, making sure the separation happens exactly when it needs to, not a second earlier, not a moment too late. The danger lies in mistaking removal for rejection. Too many people interpret the absence of certain individuals as a flaw in themselves. They think, maybe I wasn't good enough, maybe I should have tried harder. But that's the trick of the mind. It clings to what's familiar, even if it's destructive. The universe doesn't care about preserving your comfort, it cares about preserving your growth. If someone's presence hinders your evolution, it will remove them, no matter how attached you are. You might resist at first. You might fight to keep them in your life, bargaining with fate, replaying good memories to justify their return. But over time, you'll notice something curious. The more you let go, the lighter you feel. The more distance there is between you and them, the more you see the damage that was being done, not just to your mind, but to your soul. And then it clicks. Their departure wasn't a loss. It was a rescue mission. Every toxic person carries a weight, but you often don't realize how heavy it is until you set it down. That weight can be disguised as friendship, love, loyalty, or obligation. It can hide behind laughter and inside jokes. But deep down, there's always a subtle undertone of manipulation, control, or constant negativity. The universe sees what you can't, or perhaps what you refuse to see, and when the time is right, it takes matters into its own hands. Think of the people who left your life years ago, the ones you thought you couldn't live without. Where are you now compared to then? How many opportunities, experiences, and moments of peace have you had because they were no longer holding you back? The clarity of hindsight reveals that their absence was the soil in which your new self could grow. But you only see this when enough time has passed for the wounds to heal and the lessons to surface. The universe works with both precision and patience. Sometimes it will let a toxic person linger just long enough for you to recognize their patterns. Why? Because without awareness, you might unknowingly attract the same kind of energy again. The removal is not just about this one person. It's about ensuring you never repeat the same cycle. It's about building spiritual antibodies against the same type of poison. When someone is removed from your life, it's not always because they are bad in the traditional sense. Sometimes they simply can't go where you're going. Your vibration shifts, your values change, your priorities evolve. And if they remain in your circle, they might unconsciously pull you back into an older version of yourself, a version the universe is asking you to leave behind. In this way, removal is not rejection. It's alignment. Still, the human heart resists closure. We crave explanations. We want the universe to hand us a neatly written note that says, "This person is gone because X, Y, and Z." But life rarely works like that. Instead, the explanation often arrives in pieces, through late-night reflections, unexpected encounters, and new chapters that reveal how small your world had become when they were in it. The universe prefers you to discover the truth yourself, because in discovering it, you grow. And here's the most important truth. When the universe removes someone toxic, it doesn't just create a void. It creates space for the right people to enter. But if you're still staring at the door that closed, you might miss the one that's opening right in front of you. The new connections, the deeper friendships, the mentors, and soul-aligned companions, they can't step in until the air has been cleared of those who darken it. So, the next time someone drifts out of your life, resist the urge to chase them. Pause. Observe. Ask yourself, what if this isn't the end of something good, but the beginning of something better? What if their absence is the universe's way of saying, you deserve more? You deserve peace. You deserve people who see you, value you, and lift you higher. This isn't about blaming others for all your pain. Sometimes we are the toxic ones in someone else's story, and the universe may remove us from their circle for the same reason, to protect their growth. That realization can sting, but it's also humbling. It reminds us to do our inner work, so that when the right people do enter our lives, we can keep them there in healthy, loving ways. Toxicity doesn't always look like cruelty or aggression. Sometimes it's disguised as constant self-pity, subtle sabotage, or the inability to celebrate your wins. It's the friend who always has a reason you can't succeed, the partner who dismisses your dreams as unrealistic, the family member who makes you feel small under the guise of joking. These patterns chip away at your confidence, your energy, and your belief in yourself until the universe intervenes. One day, you wake up and realize you're no longer explaining your worth to people who refuse to see it. You're no longer bending yourself into shapes that make others comfortable. You're no longer shrinking so someone else can shine. And that moment, quiet but powerful, is proof that the universe's removals work. If you're in the middle of such a removal right now, and it feels painful, trust this. The pain is temporary, but the freedom will be permanent. You are being cleared for something greater, something truer to your soul's path. And while you might not see the full picture yet, the universe does. It always has. It always will. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had someone removed from your life, only to later realize it was the best thing that could have happened? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how the universe has worked in your life. And remember this, every ending is a beginning in disguise. Let go, trust the process, and keep your circle sacred. If this message resonated with you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and keep walking toward the life you're meant to live, free from those who were never meant to stay.